Hi, everyone. It's great to be here with you today. Antoinette and I decided to jump on a call and to share a little bit about a conversation that I got some insight into after she's been working with some agile coaches. We decided to do a recording on this and share it with you. Antoinette, great to be in the call with you. What was that conversation about again?
So the conversation was, how do I know? I've got this agile competency wheel, and there's training and facilitation and mentoring and team coaching and coaching on it, professional coaching on it. How do I know which one to use under which circumstances? Um,
Mm.
and I think about it a little bit like, you've got this palette with paint on it. In order to be a really great painter, how do I know? How to which one to pick up from my palette.
Yeah, that's quite tricky. I mean, if I recall from my early days as an agile coach, that used to kind of stop me in my tracks. So I've got these options. There's a scenario that came up right now. Somebody is asking for support. How do I choose in the moment exactly what to do? So if we look at this wheel and we think maybe of a scenario that can help us position our thinking onto it, what comes to mind for you that we can share exactly how we can paint a picture?
So a good one that I always think of is work with our product owner, okay, or work
Mm.
with a product owner. So if the product owner says, okay, so I need to write stories. It's now, I've heard in my new role, it's my responsibility to write stories, but I don't even know what a story is. That's a very clear request for training. It's a completely different scenario if a product owner, in my mind at least, if a product owner comes to me and says, I'm really struggling to come up and stabilize, the which stories we need to do in this coming sprint. So, as an old hand, Will, I mean, how would you handle that?
Hmm. That's a great question. Um, my preference, and maybe here's a bit of a hint, like every agile coach does things differently, but we stand by the general principles, right? So we learn how to do this by still keeping with the principles. My general approach with that, when I'm very clear that it's not a training challenge, is to then start standing in question. Um, I'm wondering in myself, I'm wondering what might be going on for the product owner. So maybe I'll ask, so what is the need? What is the challenge that you're sitting in? And that usually, if we look at the coaching competency wheel, we look at the coaching and mentoring arc, it starts with that process of asking the question, what is it exactly that we're trying to get out of um, this work that we're doing on this problem? And then very quickly, we'll start to realize, okay, it's either a mentoring conversation where I might sprinkle very lightly some experience or some information that might be useful, and then help them to develop their thinking further, or it's a coaching conversation where they don't need any further input. It's something about their way of being. Maybe there's a challenge in the relationship with pressure from an outside party, like the chief product owner, maybe, or maybe the client is under a lot of pressure, and that's impacting on the product owner. So, as I said that, Antoinette, what do you do?
So I think I always tend to start out in the coaching stance. Because even if I'm going to go to training or if I'm going to go to mentoring, um, I'm going to figure out or help the person figure out what's the real problem here. And when the real problem surfaces, then it becomes clearer. Is this a matter of skills, for which we generally use training or mentoring, or is this a matter of personal development? Are they standing in their own way? So do they need something for the hands? Do they need something for the head? Or do they need something for the heart? And that really helps determine what it is that I want to do with them. So of course, this is tied into where we are in their journey. If we're at the start of the journey, then we do a lot more training. Whereas if we've been with them for a while, our goal is always to create self-managing, self-organizing teams. If we're down the path with them, then coaching tends to be more useful because they can do their own thinking. They've got all the agile practices down, they understand how things work. Maybe this is something that needs to change in their mindset. So, yeah.
Yeah. So as you said that, what lands for me again is the importance of listening, but it's not listening for content. It's listening for much more than that. It's listening for where they are in their journey. It's listening for the context and what is needed. It's listening for one, two, three, four, or maybe five challenges that they're facing. And in coaching, playing that back and asking. So I'm hearing these problems as you were talking. What do you think is going on? What do you think is needed? And leaving people a choice as opposed to kind of thinking that I'm an agile coach, I should have the answer. I'm an expert in story writing, so let me, solve the problem for you.
Yeah. So, and as we are speaking, I think one of the aims that we have on our coaching class specifically is to help you develop your own thinking. You're still problem solving, okay, but problem solving looks very different if we have a coaching hat on than if we have an expert hat on. In our classes, what we really try and help you do is support you through your own journey from expert to coming from a coaching point of view. That's why it's called Agile Coaching. After all, it's not called Agile Consulting or Agile Training. It's called Agile Coaching because really, ultimately, that's the place that we come from. That's our come from place. So if you are interested in joining us, have a look at our schedule. We'll be happy to walk this journey with you and see what we can learn from you too.
Thank you, Antoinette. It's always great to be in conversation with you, and I'm curious to see what we might explore with more and more people as they step into agile coaching as well.
Thank you.